Good morning. I'm Vincent Jagongo Chopa, MCA for Northwest Kisumu Ward, a member of the committee.
Honorable members, we will proceed directly with the vetting. Mr. Dewey, we have received your testimonials here. As we go through them, I want to give you an opportunity, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, that you prove to this committee that you satisfy the requirements of Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 and its amendment in 2019. Just by telling us. Number 2, I want you to discuss how your educational qualifications and work experience could enable you to deliver as a member of the board. In other words, I'm giving you an opportunity to introduce yourself. But as you introduce yourself, you will tell us why you think that you satisfy the requirements of the Urban Areas and Cities Act and its amendment of 2019, and how your educational background will enable you to deliver as a member of the Kisumu City Board. So, time is yours.
Before, my name is Elijah Adul, and as far as membership of the board of the Kisumu City Board is concerned, there are 4 requirements. That you be a graduate of the university recognized in the country, that you have worked in a medium management organization for at least 7 years, and that you satisfy the Constitution at Chapter 6. All those 3, Mr. Speaker, are issues that I have qualified in. My testimonials will show that I went to University of Nairobi and the class of 1975 and did Bachelor of Commerce. Thereafter, I went into insurance business and worked for 32 years before I retired. After that, I had a stint as a director at the National Hospital Insurance Fund for 2 terms up to 2015. And in those capacities, I was a chair of Integrity Committee. And I think that gave me an opportunity to further the experience that I had postgraduate at the insurance industry. The Urban Areas and Cities Act does provide for the terms of who may become a member of a board, as I have stated. And my testimonials are there to be seen.
Honorable Eunice Alando, you can just sit, just have a seat. Just have a seat, you can have the microphone with you there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To Mr. Elijah, as a nominee of City Board of Kisumu, what is your understanding of the legal and policy framework enacted in the county for the purposes of enforcement and revenue collection within the city?
Mr. Dul?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every year, the county government would pass a financial act that lays out what it is that will be collected by way of revenue, and this is then collected with the Department of Finance in charge in the county. The city is part of the larger county, and the Act provides for these revenues to be collected throughout the country, throughout the county.
Watch. Have a seat. Just sit down and do your question. You like standing?
Yes, our nominee. I know if your nomination to this position is approved by this committee, then you are going to become a member of the city board, and some of the responsibilities you have in that office is policy making for the management of the same. Now, can you briefly explain some of the policies, legal and institutional reforms that you may propose be undertaken by the board to improve the management and administration within the city?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can readily think of two major policy proposals that would benefit the city. This is arising of some little experience that I have. The budget-making process in the county and in the city provides an opportunity for the city to make estimates and expenditures, make them available to the budget county, and this is considered in finding out what it is that will be made available at the appropriation stage. Now, the process has been that the budget is undertaken, forwarded according to sections 45 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, forwarded to the governor. But the situation on the ground is that this has often been sent to the Department of Finance. When this is done, the actual estimates and expenditures are completely changed, and in the end, the amount made available is insufficient for service delivery. I would propose and request an amendment be made so that whatever it is that is estimated and the expenditures that are taken down are sent directly through the governor to the county assembly, so that the county assembly be the determinant of how much that ought to take. The other issue is with the personnel that are supposed to be engaged and work in the city. The city is a devolved organ of the county government, providing services to the citizenry. Now, it has been the case that the professionals are inadequate, and there is a body that hires professionals to work in the county and also the city. I would propose or make a recommendation to be considered that in the event that these personnel are being hired, that the city be given an opportunity to make a crucial decision on the personnel. This is largely because the members of the board who are in charge of the city management are part-timers. And yet the section 20 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act provides functions that more or less require a full-time attention. And so it is the personnel that will do this work. And so a recommendation that I would propose is that at the time of engaging the adequate numbers, the city is involved in the process. Thank you.
Adul, just on the same question that was asked by the honorable member, you were the chair, currently the chair of the city board, and you must be aware of the budget cycle. There is a document that just comes before the estimates. You are aware of it?
Yes.
It's called?
The document that comes before?
The estimate. In the budget cycle, there is a document that comes before the estimate.
Early in the year.
Pardon?
The budget cycle that starts early in the year.
Yes. So the document that comes before the estimates.
Mr. Speaker, I won't remember.
Thank you so much. Also, you are aware that before the budget estimates comes, there is something called a ceilings.
Yeah.
Who gives the ceilings?
The ceilings are determined by the Department of Finance.
By the Department of Finance.
And communicate to the entities that are making the process.
Does it come before the estimates? Or the estimates come before the ceilings?
I think at the level of our entity, we get to know about the ceilings after making the estimates of our own.
Maybe you've heard what the chair is saying, that they get to know the ceilings after the estimates. I think the true position is that the ceilings comes before the estimate. So any estimate is supposed to be based on a ceiling. We as an assembly, we are also a department that gets ceilings. And our budget is based on the ceiling. So I really found it tricky when the chair is saying that they do their estimates and then they are brought down. Maybe we'll explain that one in another way. But chair, you are the chair of the city board. And would you mind telling us the challenges that you experienced, the gains, and what you will do better if you're given chance?
Mr. Speaker, the biggest challenge has been resources to get to carry out the functions. The functions are outlaid, but the resources have been difficult to come by. Perhaps the struggle that we went through is the getting the city to be at least semi-autonomous, to be able to handle the resources right from the time of requesting for them and being able to apply them to give the service delivery that is required. I do remember that the request for that is lying in the assembly and perhaps will be handled. Now, the other challenge that the city experienced was lack of personnel to be able to carry out the functions and to be able to find a structure, an organogram that shows who is who in the city management and whether they have the capacity and the competence to do the work. A little earlier on, I made reference to the fact that there should be opportunity for the city to decide who is hired, and not to leave it entirely to the county public service board. I think that going forward, it will be necessary to give facilitation in terms of resources and get personnel to be able to do what the board members and the city board decides as resolutions and programs.
You didn't tell me the case, but I wanted to ask that if the city is made semi-autonomous, will it make it the link from the county? The answer is no.
There?
If, assuming the city is made semi-autonomous the way you have proposed,
Yeah.
will it delink from the county?
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah,
So it means when you are proposing that now the city takes care of the issues of employment and such like, now where will be the public service board and what is the role of the public service board?
I'm not asking that they take absolute chair. They should be engaged so as to be able to indicate the kind of requirement that should be taken into account.
Honorable members, I'm not sure if the nominee is saying that currently they just hear that a personnel has been hired and sent to the city. Because I believe the rules of HR provides that there must be an originator. There must be a request that we have these gaps before it proceeds. But based on how you are responding, it looks like when you wake up in the morning, you just find that a staff has been brought without knowing where the staff is coming from. I think our assembly has taken order. Let me give Honorable Jennifer.
Mr. Speaker, if I can add on that, it is true that not only do we find that personnel have been brought, but we also find that personnel have been taken away. And that is the area that needs to be properly synchronized so that there is stability in who is handling the work for which decisions have been made by the board.
Honorable Jennifer.
Thank you. Mr. Adul, what is your opinion on night demolition carried out by various city boards within the county, particularly on illegal constructions?
I think that's straight, Mr. Adul.
Demolitions without taking into account that whatever was done incorrectly has been communicated to the party involved so that if there is action to be taken at some stage resulting to demolition, it is a matter that is already known. This is done in order to accommodate business in the city, because much of the business that is in the city is at medium level. And if there are demolitions that are not substantiated, the business will be affected. So as demolitions are undertaken, the parties involved must be fully informed and be able to weigh out and accept the consequences. But on the part of management, as recommended by the board, this should be fairly done without much harm to the owners of the business.
Has that been the case in your tenure as the chair of the city board. What you have proposed that should be done, has it been the case?
Yes, I can say without a doubt that in our board resolutions, there is a statement that requires that in the event of any demolition, the board should be made aware so as to be able to accept responsibility, because at the end of the day, the liability falls on the board as an entity.
Honorable members, I think, let me give Honorable Jagongo.
Maybe on the issue that the nominee talked about, of hiring of staff, I think that one we may only investigate because we are not aware if at all hiring can take place without their knowledge. But taking away, maybe I think is referring to this case whereby, because our current director for infrastructure, I think, has been moved from the city. So maybe that is what he was talking about. Okay. Thank you.
Honorable Jagongo.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Dul, in relation to Article 185 of the Constitution and Section 87 of the County Government Act of 2012, what is your opinion, the principle of public participation, and why is it important in the management of the city?
Yes, sir. Mr. Du.
Yeah. The city management, as oversighted by the city board, is principally supposed to give service delivery. Service delivery is to the people, is to the city citizenry. As a consequence of that, the people who are receiving this service delivery should have a say in the kind of issues, services that they require. And not to mention that public participation is a requirement virtually in everything that is done. It behoves the city management to ensure that public participation is undertaken in respect of every aspect of service delivery.
Thank you so much. There is one thing that I asked you that you didn't answer. Maybe as we conclude, what is it that you can do better, given chance? In other words, I was asking you the gains and what you can do better. Maybe in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I have an indication of how that would happen. In the first place, we have, it is in the law, in the Urban Areas and Cities Act, that the board is an agent of the county government. Now, the county government also uses the city manager, the board, and the professional staff to get things done. Now, one major problem that remains to be sorted out is Section 28 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, which relates to the relationship between the city manager and the city board. In the inaugural term that is just expiring, the city manager found it necessary to be getting instructions directly from the executive. Now, this does not go very well with the law. And yet, the executive is a principal in the relationship with the city board. There is a dilemma that will have to be sorted out to give city board and city management an opportunity to seamlessly perform its work, to get that relationship properly in place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. I think it is a little deeper than that, in the sense that it also appears to be affecting virtually all urban boards and would have to be handled at a higher level.
Honorable members, is there any member with a further question to the nominee? If none, then I want to give you an opportunity, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, to tell us what maybe you feel you need to tell us that didn't come from us. It's called an info that you volunteered. So maybe in 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm pretty satisfied that the issues, the questions that were put to me enabled me to raise up the matters that were deep down my heart in terms of relaying the wish to an institution that regulates and is able to make a change in the entire functioning of the board. I would simply urge that in subsequent times, when these petitions are made, then the Assembly can take them up and possibly cross-check on the spot before taking action. Thank you.
Honorable Seth.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I think mine is simple. I think in the original testimonials, I'm just seeing one testimonial for Daniel Mendwadul, and I'm wondering if that's your testimonial and when you changed your name.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dul.
The folder that I gave out carries quite a bit of other testimonials which are irrelevant in this case. But I had put them all in, hoping that I will be able to lift them one by one. Unfortunately, it was carried in block. So that which you are referring to is a degree certificate for my son, who did his degree in the US. So it's a question of too many of those in the same folder. I'm sorry about that.
Only the ones that are relevant to where you are going to appear. Honorable Jagongo, what is it?
There is also another one inside the same folder with the name Onyango Adul Manganga.
Yes, Mr. Elijah.
Is that a testimonial, a certificate, or certificate? Is that for the O-level? Yeah, I have a long story to tell about that one, if it is the O-level certificate.
This is for East Africa Certificate of Education.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, you'll bear with me. When we did our O-level in 1968, out of peer behavior, we decided that you must add another name as you register for the examination. And so we had names like Daniel Makopio being the name on coming. And those days, the results were coming out and published on the newspaper. This was a simply peer behavior, and I think I had my names as Shem Elijah Adul Manganga. Now, when I went for A-level, I was made to put my names correctly, and I chose 3 of them: Elijah Onyango Adul. When I went to university, I dropped the name Onyango and retained Elijah Adul. And those are the names that subsequently are officially in my records. But because I am also socially known, the other names tend to come, but not as official as to be able to be on the record. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dul. You will notice that the members have not taken much time with you because before we started, they said they know you as the chair of the city. So they have a lot of background on you that they will use to make their decision. What I can tell you is to wish you the best and give an opportunity, do the best for the county. But it will be upon the members to make the decision. And they told me that for Adul, I think we have what we can refer to, some of the questions they have asked you. And should there be any need to get further clarification on you, please just avail yourself. Otherwise, I want to wish you the best. And I want to ask the Secretary that please the original testimonials of the nominee to go back to him with the ID. You are free to leave. The committee will be retreating after the vetting process to make a report. So I wish you the best.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honourable members, I want you to complete the awards so that we pick those folders.